Reading is more than just word calling. Yet many LL Psych come to the page without an understanding that reading is active and involves interaction and sense-making. We make this clear in Read-Retell through externalizing the kinds of thinking we do internally as proficient readers. We ask questions, we summarize, we go back and reread when meaning breaks down.
The moves in the Read-Retell-Respond cultivate both literal understanding of text and the academic ways of thinking that are so necessary for academic literacy. We're going to illustrate how this is done with an example from the Bridges ELA curriculum. Each unit is anchored by 2 essential questions.
Why do people use water, need water?
কেন মানুষের দরকার পানির?
Para que las personas necesitan el agua.
Pourquoi les gens ont besoin de l'eau?
Marani stronga need gin.
Minero muhimu kwa jila.
¿Para qué las personas necesitan el agua?
In Bridges, we connect everything that students do in class back to the essential questions. When students read, they are reading to consider and respond to these questions.
And when you read, what will you be thinking about? What will you be thinking about? Okay, yeah.
How do you industry and agriculture use water?
How do industry and agriculture use water? You have an idea? Wait, I'm going to take everybody's ideas. For plants, for crops.
Yeah, para que crezca.
Students label any images in the text. Visual literacy is paramount in Bridges. For emerging readers, the act of labeling is important. Students connect images to words and to the ideas expressed in the text. And in addition, labeling builds language, activates schema, and encourages inferencing. Students make meaning of the text through the interpretation of the images.
Agriculture. You underline. Who can translate into Spanish? Lynette.
Agricultura.
Agricultura. So we start annotation by having students translate the glossary words to support sense-making. Then we move on. In Unit 3, students identify keywords in the process of annotating. Similar to labeling, annotation emphasizes that reading is active. It involves examining and engaging the text and recognizing what you don't know and what you do know. It's a critical skill that develops across classes over the year. When you read silently, do you talk?
No.
No. When you read, you're thinking, how do industry and agriculture use water? Okay? So now you're going to take 5 minutes to read silently.
Reading silently gives readers the time to process and think, and to do the work of sense-making. It reinforces that meaning is found in text and provides students with control and ownership over text understanding.
So for all of us, for the most part, reading is an independent act. We do it silently, by ourselves. Often in the classroom, though, for Ls, we scaffold understanding to the point where reading and engaging the text isn't really necessary. And as a teacher, I was guilty of that, right? I privileged content and engaging discussions over prioritizing explicitly teaching students to make meaning from the text independently.
Next, Students work with a partner to retell what they understood from the
Que las
text.
factorías contaminan el agua y el medio ambiente.
The farmer contamination, the water, the air, and
This should initially happen in home language. Students should thus be seated with a home language partner. When this is not possible, student pairs will have to do it in English.
Retelling helps students to consolidate their understanding and makes explicit the ways of using language that are implicit when students read but don't retell. In other words, when I retell, right, when I tell you about a story I read, I take up the language and the language structures I've read in order to express myself, right, in that very act. So for students, first this happens in home language because this is students' language of thought. Heavy users. The amount of water we use at home is actually very small compared to the vast quantities.
During this move, the teacher reads the text dramatically using gesture, intonation, and props. The students remain active as readers. Having worked to make sense of the text, the teacher input dramatization of key ideas, tone of voice is a piece of the puzzle they are already invested in solving.
So as a team, we vacillated about whether the teacher read aloud should come before or after students read silently. But it became evident in the classroom, very clear how valuable it is for kids to tackle text. Then, once they've massaged an understanding independently and then with a partner, the read aloud, the teacher read aloud, becomes an aha moment. So we just read this article. It's called Heavy Users. Can you tell me, what is it about? What do you understand? Tell me something.
I understand 264.
Tell me something about Badaria.
We use a lot of water in our industry.
The whole class retell is an opportunity to consolidate understanding, to clear misconceptions and connect ideas. In general, this starts with a concept map, and students are asked, what is this about? Finally, the last instructional move of Read-Retell-Respond requires the teacher to make a space for students' response. Responding emphasizes that reading involves reacting to what we have read, not just summarizing what was said. As readers, we respond to what we read. We experience emotions, we learn things, we have opinions. Initially, a teacher may have to provide a variety of sentence starters in order to scaffold this metacognitive process. Sentence starters like, I didn't realize that, or it surprised me that, or if I don't agree that, help students to respond to the text.
Industry use water to make cars. The agriculture use water to give plants.
And that's good, the way they use water, because Musa said they use too much. How do you feel?
What? No good.
No good. So the author indicates that washing the pet dog is an essential use of water. Students in our classrooms tend to disagree, and it's important to make the space and cultivate the kinds of insight that students bring from their own experience. This is critical literacy, and it can't wait until students are reading sophisticated text in English. It must be inculcated as they become readers. With a partner, they're negotiating meaning. We show students in these actions, right, by doing, that reading is about problem solving. The labeling, the annotation, the discussion, the listening, right? This is what it takes to interact with text in a way that's active.